right. All right, coming to you live from my newly renovated office. There's the guy that smiles at you with a mask on. My name is Brian Stutz, and I am working here in Trio as the academic outreach specialist. And today, for our third annual Trio Talk, we have a very, very special guest, my dear friend of mine. She works in new student orientation. Her name is Rachel Linhart, working very hard on our Big Red welcome. Welcome to Trio 30 Talk. How are you doing today? Can you hear me, Rachel?
Hi, good. Hey, Brian. Yes, sorry for the delay there. Hi, everyone.
Okay.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, and so today we are going to talk about everything that is going on with Big Red Welcome Week. So you as the students are able to know everything, be able to keep safe when you come to campus, know all the events and all the fun things that are being planned. Rachel has been working really hard this summer with COVID-19 happening and everything. So we really appreciate you coming on, Rachel. We're going to go ahead and give you the controls to go ahead and give us the information we need, and we can ask questions. If we have some students jump on, we will ask them. So you have the control, so go on.
All right, fantastic. Again, thank you so much for having me. You are right. We are in the thick of planning and rolling out Big Red Welcome. The countdown is on, welcoming students to campus. I think we're less than 24 hours out to the first move-in day, which I think we've all been waiting for quite some time now. So I'm excited to share everything that we have to offer in the next couple of weeks with y'all. As Brian said, my name is Rachel Linhart, and I'm an orientation coordinator in the Office of New Student Enrollment. So this past summer, I was enrolling students in classes, so I helped with all of your enrollments. Hopefully you've got good schedules, you're excited about your classes, and I'm transitioning right now into planning and executing our Big Red Welcome events. Right. Ooh. So Big Red Welcome, just to give you a little idea about what that means exactly when we use that phrase. So Big Red Welcome is an umbrella term essentially for all of the Welcome Week activities that are taking place within the first few weeks of the semester. So it's a series of events that are really intentionally designed and structured to help new students familiarize themselves with campus and make friends, build community. And so it stretches over the course of a few weeks. Our formal programming starts tomorrow, so it starts in line with move-in day, first day of move-in, and we are repeating and having a lot of different events through August 23rd is kind of the official last day of our signature events, but I don't want that to discourage you because we do have activities leading into the first few weeks of the semester, but that's kind of the scope of the formal Big Red Welcomes calendar there, so you know what to expect. So we are doing a pretty comprehensive schedule of hybridized activities. So we have a hybrid model of virtual and in-person activities and some that are doing both. So we're trying to meet students where they're at, hopefully have a little bit of something for everyone, and make these activities as accessible as possible during your first few weeks on campus. So the types of events to look for during Big Red Welcome, we have everything under the sun and are trying to appeal to a lot of different types of students, different interests and different needs, because we recognize that you are coming from different backgrounds and looking to make different goals and accomplish different things during your first few weeks on campus. So some activities that I want to highlight are tours. We're doing lots of tours. I recognize that this past summer was probably a bit unconventional from what you expected. You may have spent less time on campus than you were hoping, and so we have amped up the number of tours that we're hosting this fall, so that way you can familiarize yourselves with campus. We'll be hosting tours to help you find your classes and your class buildings, as well as exploring the greater community, the greater downtown area, and the Haymarket neighborhoods. We're hosting a few icebreaker sessions, some identity mixers and meetups. Each college is hosting a welcome program. So if you're associated with the College of Arts and Sciences or College of Business, for example, they're each doing their own welcome activities so you can get to know people and faculty in your college. We're hosting a wellness fest, some block parties within residence halls, and then some other mixers, signature events towards the end of the week. And this really only scratches the surface. There's much more. So I'll tell you in a minute how to get engaged with the schedule, how to really dive deep into what we have to offer. But these are some things, some themes that you can expect during Big Red Welcome. So I am leading right in here to accessing the full schedule. So the schedule is actually available in an app from your smartphone. So I will walk through the steps here. I can pass them along to Brian and the team if they want to send it on further for you to reference, but here are the steps broken down. So essentially, you'll just launch your phone's app store and search for the Husker Campus Guides app. Once you download it, you'll open it and click Find Guides in the bottom right-hand corner. And then you'll type in Big Red Welcome 2020. So that'll pull up the Big Red Welcome guide, it's called. You'll click open, and that will be that will open the box, the key to your success during your first couple of weeks on campus. So after you open the guide in the Husker Campus Guides app, you'll click the 3 parallel lines that are in the top left corner of your screen. You'll click those and that'll launch the menu. So you'll see there on this left-hand image, we have the events calendar, there is a scavenger hunt, there's some more interactive activities that are built in within the app. There is some tools so you can create notes, you can build your own schedule, you can create your own checklist from the new student checklist, so that way you can be on top of some of the more task-oriented things that you need to accomplish during the first couple of weeks, as well as some logistics-oriented resources, so campus maps, weather, etc. Lastly, to view the schedule, on number 5 there, the image on the right-hand side, you'll click the events calendar tab to view the full Big Red Welcome schedule. So essentially you can just sift through each day, see what we have to offer. You can click the event to learn more, to read a description, to see exactly where it's going to be held, and add it to your personalized schedule. Now, as you can imagine, and as I know, it sounds kind of like a broken record at this point in the summer in regards to a lot of planning or trying to plan. Planning large-scale events for a lot of people is very challenging amidst an epidemic or a pandemic. And so I want you to know, I want to be transparent about the precautions and the intentionality that we've taken in planning Big Red Welcome amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. So when we're thinking about how do we maximize our opportunities for students during Big Red Welcome, we really boiled down what are our goals for new students. We want new students to make friends. We want new students to learn campus and get comfortable with their campus community. And we want them to be able to build skills and build confidence and do all of this safely and securely on campus. And so it's really challenged us and inspired us, honestly, to put an emphasis on small group activities. So as you can imagine, when we're welcoming 5,000 new students to campus, a lot of things take place traditionally in much bigger capacities, but we've increased the amount of activities that we're doing and increased the frequency, like I said, and the amount that we have staffed, so that way we can have smaller groups, which really works in your benefit, because then you'll get to meet other new students and actually make meaningful connections with them within those smaller groups. We are heightening our outdoor venues, so fingers crossed for good weather. If not, this is Nebraska in August after all, so we have ponchos available that we are ready to pull out at a moment's notice if you need a poncho. But we'll be doing most events outdoors, so that way obviously we can increase airflow, use more space. Very intentional about line management and the way that we're checking students in, contact tracing, moving them through spaces. As well as increased frequency in activities, like I mentioned, and then just making sure that we're honoring social distancing practices and the face covering policy at the university. So all of that combined, we've also worked through risk assessments and risk mitigation exercises, gone through event approval practices driven and informed by local, state, and university guidelines. And so we are working very hard to preserve the nature of and the value of Big Red Welcome, but also keeping our community safe and trying to strike that balance. And so these are some of the ways in which we are working to uphold that this fall. And something I'm super excited about is, considering all of the changes, we've actually been able to add a lot of new events to the schedule that I'm really excited about and I'm really looking forward to. So the first one is the Husker 9 to Find scavenger hunt. That's the image there on the right-hand side. So this is a virtual scavenger hunt built into the Husker Campus Guides app that I shared about a couple minutes ago. And it's centered around the 9 dimensions of well-being. Those are well-being dimensions that the university recognizes, 9 different dimensions that each individual needs to foster in order to maximize their well-being as an individual. So we have partnered with a ton of offices across campus that support each of these dimensions. And once you visit that office, you'll scan a little QR code that's posted outside of their space, and it will essentially check that destination off your scavenger hunt list. So the first 500 students to complete it get a prize. So it's a friendly race against your peers, and so we want to give away all the free swag. So as you complete it, you'll be able to win that prize and get to know campus, but also do so in kind of a de-densified, smaller group capacity.
Can you tell us what the prize is, or?
Yes, so the prizes are drawstring bags, Nebraska branded bags. So if you are finding that you have lots of goodies, lots of papers and things to carry around in your first week, you're gonna need this bag. The next is orientation group meetups. So as you worked through the Canvas, the online orientation modules this summer, you were assigned an orientation leader, and you'll be able to meet up with them and your peers in your group throughout Big Red Welcome. And we're also hosting a wellness fest. So this is just a big fest, again, that supports the 9 dimensions of well-being on a weekend, a Saturday morning. And there's going to be Zumba, there's going to be goat yoga, there's going to be life-size Candyland, lots of different activities and ways for you to get involved across campus, lots of Instagrammable moments if you're interested in documenting it. And then lastly is partnering for success. So we have 4 faculty members who teach common first year courses for new students that have come together and wanted to host kind of a mock lecture type activity or event for the incoming class before they start classes in person, to really kind of humanize and normalize the student and faculty relationship and the experience, and give them tips for success for their first classes. So I'm really excited about these opportunities. I think COVID has challenged us to think differently about how we program and how we engage students, and we're trying to make the most of that. So speaking of maximizing your experience, a few tips for success on how to do that. First and foremost, download that guide, download the app, and build a personalized Big Red Welcome schedule. So like I said, you can sift through and see what events are going on. And if there are any that interest you, you can tap that little red plus sign on the right-hand side, and it'll add it to your personalized schedule. So you can set it up to send you reminders. It kind of curates a schedule of things that you're interested in and helps you focus on just those things. And it'll help you cruise through the Big Red Welcome schedule and get kind of maximize your opportunities. The second resource that I want to point out is downloading the UNL Event Pass. So this is essentially everyone with an NUID on campus, so students and faculty and staff, have their own unique code or event pass. So it's a QR code. It's kind of like a boarding pass if you've ever flown on an airplane or a bus ticket, and you save it to your phone, and when we will scan that to scan you into events. So if you have it on your phone already, it's a super quick, easy way to get scanned in, and so that way you can get off and go off on your activity and enjoy the rest of your time. So we'll be using that for most of the activities on campus. So next steps, if I had to boil down some suggestions here into just a few talking points, it would for sure be to download the Big Red Welcome Guide, download the UNL Event Pass so you can scan into events and get on your way. Pack if you haven't started packing already. I'm sure most of you have been packed and ready to go for weeks, but just in case you were like me, moving to college and waited till the last minute, now's the time. I've linked some move-in information here if you are getting ready to move into university housing and looking for more resources there. And then last but not least, the most important item on the list is just be ready to have an awesome fall semester. It's certainly going to be unique and like no other, but I think there's a lot of beauty in that, and we're excited to see it through with y'all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rachel. That was very informative. I think that's really great information that you have. There's some links in this, so I'll be sending out the PowerPoint. It'll be attached to our YouTube channel. So you're able to click on that PowerPoint and download it so you can get to some of the links and attach that. Some of the weather questions I have is if it's really bad weather, is the app going to be able to tell us like, hey, this is canceled or postponed, or how those things work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the app I manage the app and all the content in the app. So if you see any typos in there, let me know, I'll fix them. But in all seriousness, it can be updated and edited instantaneously. So if/as changes are made to the Big Red Welcome schedule, I will be updating those in real time. I'm able to send through push notifications, so anyone that has the app downloaded will receive these if there are major changes to the schedule or like location changes, for example, or something of that nature. I will be able to push those through instantaneously to communicate the changes. So we try to be really intentional when we're staffing larger events. For example, if a location changes, if we move from outside to inside, we still try to staff someone near the outdoor space. So that way, if students don't catch the change in the schedule, we can still point them in the right direction. So we try to be really intentional about those logistics. But all things considered, that's how it will be communicated, is through the app and our social media as well.
Awesome, thank you. So if there is an event out there that is like a must-go-to event, like you should not miss this one out of all the events, what is the event that you're choosing and suggesting that all students should be at?
Oh, that's a hard one. That's a really hard one because it's a very personal, I think it's a very personal experience depending on what the student needs. Some of the things I would highlight are things like the club fair or some small group spaces. So that way you can meet other like-minded students that really kind of build that foundation for your community on campus. Community is one of the most important, if not the most important, factors leading to retention and student success in college. And that starts during Big Red Welcome. That starts before, hopefully, you feel some sort of connection to the university. And so that's kind of a dodgy way to answer your question, Brian, because I think that's going to look different for every student. But if you find something that you're really interested in as a concept, go, because I think you'll meet other students who are interested in that concept too and probably have a lot in common with them.
No, that's great. That's great because I think one of the biggest things that we try to tell is we want you to be successful as students. We want you to be able to go to events and have fun and engage. There's so many studies out there that show in your first few weeks, if you're engaged on campus, you're going to feel more at home, you're going to feel welcome, you're going to feel part of a community, which then will lead to better academics for you. You're going to want to try a little bit harder in that biology class, and you're going to really want to try and focus. And I think being able to go to these events right away, get those connections, meet some people that you've never met before, get away, don't go hang out with your high school friends that are also going to UNL, go and meet some new people. And this Big Red Welcome Week really gives you that chance to do that.
100%. I cannot emphasize that enough. And don't be afraid to try something new by yourself. I think that there's an intimidation factor with showing up to an activity alone, but that's expected. Most students, sometimes it doesn't feel like this, but most students don't know other people or have a hard time finding people that they know, even if maybe a classmate did come to Nebraska. I think another cool benefit of our smaller group dynamics during Big Red Welcome this year is that groups are going to have to be smaller. You know, we can't have tour groups larger than 8 to abide by COVID capacity regulations. And so even if a large friend group comes, they're likely going to be challenged by choice to join other smaller groups. And so there's certainly space, and that's the platform to meet new people and to kind of start building those connections.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Does anyone else have any questions in the chat? If anyone's watching live on Facebook, feel free answer questions, and we have a few minutes still to to do that?
Yes, Stephanie did post one in the chat. It's regarding the what it looks like with the students actually moving into the residence halls. So
Yeah.
if Brian wants to read that one, I think it's a pretty relevant question.
Perfect.
What this
Yes.
looks like.
That's a great question. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the question pretty much says, during a few of our intake process, which we talked to some of our students, could you tell us a little bit more about the safeguards that that the university is taking to keep students and families safe during that process, and what they can expect when they arrive ready to move in?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I first and foremost want to preface this. So I don't work for university housing and am not intimately involved with the move-in process and the logistics of that. They've hosted a lot of webinars for us actually this summer, which has been super informative. And I've also found their website to be a very great resource. I think I can speak broadly on just what that process will look like based on what's available on their website. But they're doing a curbside move-in structure this year. And so students are assigned a move-in time. Essentially, that should have all been communicated to them via email. They're assigned a move-in day and time. They report to Devaney, and then they'll use the huge space in Devaney to move through a few stations to check in for housing. And then they'll have one vehicle that pulls up in front of their residence hall, and they have a move-in company that will take students' things, take them up into the residence halls for them, and essentially do that move-in for them. So then the family goes and parks, and then they can go up, and by the time essentially they get back to their rooms, their stuff will be in there. And so I think from a safety perspective, that's been very intentional because they're spreading out the movement of people a little bit. Using Devaney, a super large space, to kind of control the check-in process. And they, by using this moving crew, it limits the number of people moving in and out of the buildings, going in and out of the elevators, cramming into elevators and spaces. They have asked that students limit their guests in their room, helping them move into 2 people per student. And so that way, again, they can honor, if each roommate has 2 people with them, they can still honor social distancing within the residence hall room, and manage it that way. So I know that they're working very diligently to think about traffic flow and spacing and how people fit into their spaces. They'll have designated like staircases that can be used, and a designated elevator for guests, and increased sanitation practices as well. So
what a life!
I know.
You don't even have to move your futon in. You won't even have to move. You have someone else moving it for you. Oh man!
Know. Doesn't that feel like kind of just like a turning point in your collegiate experience is dragging your futon up the stairs, and they don't know how lucky they are. So
yeah, they don't know. They won't know.
Yeah,
they won't know until next year when this has all gone away and they have to do that. Yeah, don't expect this every year now. So
right, I set the bar pretty high. I'm really excited to see how everything goes. I know they've been working really hard on that. So I can include the housing link here if that's helpful, just because they have a pretty good breakdown. If that would be a good resource for students who've been asking about it.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you, Rachel. And again, I'll post all that stuff in those links and things on our YouTube page. Now, you talked a little bit about well-being and our 9-dimensional well. So one of our sponsors here at the university is Big Red Resilience and Well-Being. And their mission is to empower students to live the best lives now and in the future. So we talked about those 9 dimensions. There's career, cultural, financial, intellectual, spiritual, social, physical, emotional, and environmental, and career, if I didn't say that one. So those are our 9 dimensions that we have career. We actually have well-being coaches that will actually come with you, maybe go on a walk with you and talk to you about some of these aspirations for you to improve your life on. Because what we're trying to do here, what they're trying to do is empower you to be good, to live your life to the fullest, but also to remember those things after you graduate and have that reminder and get those good foundations. So one of our sponsors, and they'll be on our podcast coming here soon in the next few weeks. So check them out as well in the office, in the health office. They're a great resource for us. And they have a lot of great programming that's going to be coming your way. So really check that out if you're really wanting to work on that. I know sometimes I need to work on my physical self, so I know I need to be better at that by doing those things, or maybe it's a spiritual thing that you want to work on. And those are some things that can really help you out and give you some advice and some tips. So check out the Big Red Resilience and Wellbeing, one of our sponsors of our podcast. We thank you for being a sponsor for us. So thank you very much. Moving on. So right here, this is, again, Big Red Welcome. We want you to go back and watch this, get the information that you need to really focus on, like, what am I going to be doing? Get a plan ready. When you come to campus, what are you going to do? What are you not going to do? When are you going to have your relaxing time to, be away from your parents for the first time in 18 years, right? And have a chance to just kind of lay your head on your bed for a second before you go out and do all the fun things that Rachel was talking about and getting involved on campus. That's really important for that you do that. I strongly believe if you're going to get involved, you're going to be successful. And if you're not sure how to get involved, you have a lot of resources at your fingertips to help you with that. One thing in TRIO that we really like to do, we like to make sure that students are attending our events and tracking it. And since this is live, we're also recording it. So we have this nice QR code here on the screen. You can scan that. I've left that up there for quite some time. Scan that so it will take you to a brief survey. You can fill out some information. So we know that you've done that. That ties into some of your programming points later on down the road. We have a quick little upcoming schedule. So next week, we're going to talk all about our tutoring services in our TRIO department. So we're going to talk about everything that you need to know if you need tutoring in a subject. Like for me, I might need some English help from Stephanie, so she might need to tutor me a little bit, which would be great. Or whatever it may be, we can help you there. I mentioned the well-being office, talking about those 9 dimensions. We have them coming August 26th. They're going to talk about that. We're going to have a student with them, a well-being coach, so they can talk all about their services they offer, so you can learn more about that. The following week is CAPS, which is our counseling services. They're going to come in and talk about how, if you need to, you've been a few weeks in now, you need to maybe talk to a counselor, maybe you're having some anxiety or some stress. They're going to talk about that process and how you schedule appointments and how great it is. And then we have campus recreation on the 9th coming in. They're going to talk about how to be physically fit. They're going to talk about all the great things they have going on in the fall and how they're using safety measures for COVID in case you haven't got to the gym yet and worked out. That would be a great time for you to learn more about what they're up to and everything along those lines. That's our 4 weeks out schedule. We have plenty of other opportunities throughout the semester. Again, we do this every Wednesday at 4 p.m. for about 30 minutes or so. Last but not least, if my slide works here, there we go. We have our social media, so new student enrollment. You're able to check out their Instagram. They'll be posting things throughout the Big Red Welcome. There's their email there, their phone number. And if you're looking to get more involved with TRIO and our student support services, we have our Instagram, UNL TRIO Scholars. Our Twitter is also the same handle. And then that QR code will take you to our Facebook page. We need more people on there, get more notifications, get some more conversations going, really focusing on connecting and being a community here. That's what we're focusing on here in TRIO Student Support Services and at UNL overall. So feel free, if you don't have a Facebook, sign up for it. It's not an old person thing. It's a great resource. All right, I'll tell you, it's a great way to get connected, get to learn some things. This is where this live stream goes because that's free, and I'm all about free stuff. And I really want to say thank you again for Rachel coming on here for new student enrollment and talking all about everything that's going on with the university and their Big Red Welcome. And other than that, that is all we have today for TRIO of 30. And I will, of course, lead us in our Hail Varsity song, if it works. Of course, it won't.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you. Yes. And we really appreciate it again for you coming. And thank you again. And you all have a good rest of your day. Go Big Red.